Speaking truth and power, unlocking minds, one day at a time, day at a time. Speaking truth and power, unlocking minds, one day at a time, day at a time. Truth of the matter is that truth really matters, yeah. Truth of the matter is that truth really matters, yeah. In the beginning, I was back and forth like Batman, lacking wisdom, no direction for proper decisions. I heard my bro had a show, so I started to listen. Truth of the matter, ain't no comparing the competition. The kid feeling blessed, cause it's clear as Windex. After talking with Dex, I know just where to step. I know the path gon' be narrow, but my eyes on the sparrow. And the truth of the matter is that truth really matters. Truth of the matter, that truth really matters. Hey, truth of the matter.
Hey, well, good evening, everybody. I want to say thank you for joining us on today. Once again, welcome to Truth of the Matter. I am your host, Dexter Jenkins Jr. Listen, over the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about preparation to some degree, preparing ourselves to overcome things that have been taking us out as a community. Now, listen, I'm going to share something with you all, and I believe that what I'm getting ready to share with you all is not just unique to me, but I believe that in some capacity we can all say that it's been our story. Over the past 18 months, I've lost a number of friends due to health related issues. And I'm sure that, as I said earlier, that a number of you all can probably relate to this as well. I believe what's most unfortunate is that in many of these cases, these were deaths that were more than likely preventable. And with that being said, I wanted to bring on a voice that I trust that relates to matters of wellness. So without further ado, allow me to introduce a good friend of mine, none other than Miss Natasha L. Brown. Natasha, how are we doing tonight?
I am so wonderful, and congratulations on the truth of the matter. I'm so excited for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. Natasha, do me a favor. Why don't you introduce yourself? Give a little background to the listening audience.
So, I am going to piggyback on what you just said because I am one of those that reacted. I was not proactive, I was reactive. So, I got into holistic health because I received a diagnosis of cancer. And when I received that diagnosis, one of the people in my ministry at that time shared with me some holistic information. And that was not something that I was interested in, but I knew that I could not die because I had small children. So I became a product of what I did in order to actually reverse the diagnosis. And not to say that I cured anything or used any magic pills or anything of that nature, but I changed my lifestyle, which in turn allowed my body to begin to align with the way that God created to do so. So now that's what I teach. As a holistic consultant, as a healing evangelist, I teach more so women, but definitely anyone that is willing to do the work in order to align their bodies with what God has designed for us to operate as, which is our vehicle here on earth, as well as everything He's provided for us to utilize so that we can move forward. So I'm an author of 4 books, definitely empowerment books for women, as well as 2 devotionals. And I work with ministries that want to set up wellness programs in order to make sure that they don't lose anyone else because of lifestyle.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Natasha. And listen, if you're catching this by way of video, across the bottom, you may see the ticker, which is actually her email, and that is what happened to your last meal.com. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that at length towards the end of this conversation. But listen, Natasha, you hit on something that's really key. And I'm glad you went there. First thing first, I'm a firm believer in motivation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that fear is a good motivator, but I also
Right.
believe that love is an even more effective form of motivation. And so you actually said that you were presented with a scare, and
Right.
the love of your children motivated you to make those changes. And one of the messages that I recently caught of yours, you were talking about being proactive and not reactive. And so I want to ask you, what are some things that we can do to become more proactive as it relates to wellness?
Well, definitely, this is one thing, finding resources that are sharing information to get you going in the right direction. And the number one thing I am participating in, what my holistic mentor is calling a water revival. So he has been challenging everyone that follows and participates and listen to him to drink a gallon of water a day. And, I try to give people a break because most of the people that I work with don't want to drink water. They don't want to eat right. They don't want to exercise. They just want me to work, just say you are well and that's it. But getting up to that gallon a day, you definitely have to be conscious of what you're doing. You have to be scheduled. And there are many apps you can use now that'll remind you to drink water. But
Mm.
in being proactive, making sure you are hydrated, making sure you are getting plenty of restful sleep, making sure you are exercising. Even if you are in a lockdown, there are things you can do with your own body weight to make sure you stay active, to stay well, to stay in a place of flexibility, definitely. Because as we mature, we think certain things are supposed to happen to our body, which is a lie. I'm not even going to say it's a myth, it's a lie. If we protect and do what we're supposed to do to what we've been given, then our bodies will in turn produce what we need in order to be well and healthy. So the getting out in the sunlight, especially now, because once we get into autumn and winter, we're not going to have as much of that heat and warmth from the
Mm.
sun. So it's going to play a vital role in making sure we've had our ecosystem, not just our immune system, but our entire body in alignment with what needs to be done in order to stay well. So being proactive starts preseason, just like with any
Right.
sport. So if we start now, we can get to where we need to be in autumn and winter.
Yeah, I love that. First thing first, for the record, I think I was one of those people who was like, "Hey, I was probably one of your bad clients." I never had a, I didn't have issues with the water, but listen, y'all, Natasha was trying to get me to cut out meat. And, I know I was giving you a hard time, but I'm gonna have to hit you up again
Now
after this
that was
call.
a pilot program, so we're not going to fault you for that one. That was a pilot
Oh, thank
program,
you.
and I used two men on purpose because usually you all lose weight faster, but you all are a little more challenging. So, amen.
Hey, listen, I was not about those changes, but I don't know if you've been noticing this, but I've been actually kind of inspired. I've been seeing a lot of friends like on my timelines and stuff like that. It seems like they're really trying to take control of their fitness, and that's really encouraging. So I don't know if subconsciously people are just kind of uh, making note that it's time to make some changes, but I am seeing people taking those steps, and so I want to encourage those people to continue to make those strides as far as regaining your sense of wellness. Let me bring this up to you, Natasha. Right now, with the COVID-19, we know that it hasn't leveled off, but ironically, I think a number of experts are actually suggesting that another wave of it is going to probably take place towards the end of this year. Uh, with this being a hotbed conversation, with this being a very real issue, I think a lot of focus is starting to go towards strengthening the immune system. So I wanted to ask you, what are some practical things that we can do to strengthen our own immune systems?
So, not just focusing on the immune system, but definitely the ecosystem, your entire body, all of the systems work together. So, making sure they're all strengthened. And I've done a series of classes on Monday evenings, private sessions. And what we've been doing is working seasonally. So this
Mm.
season, there are a number of foods and herbs and even particular waters that I have recommended that they eat. So for summer, there are a lot of black foods that you can eat. So, for example, black chickpeas, black rice, the black water is definitely something good that you can do. A few other things you can do, the black plums, and these are some things that you can get readily anywhere. Many of the items, as far as the herbs, you may have to really look for those things depending on what part of the country you live in. but eating in season. And like I mentioned before, definitely getting out and getting as much sun daily as you can get. 20 minutes or more is going to be vital to get that vitamin D. No matter what hue your skin is, you want to get that vitamin D in because it's going to help out in the cooler months. Also, you want to make sure that you are exercising. And I think a lot of people are exercising and transforming their bodies because the excuse of being busy, too busy, has been eliminated for most people. So, what else are we doing? We're finding ways to improve ourselves, or at least we should be. So, definitely doing what you need to do in this season, which prepares you for the next season. And many of us are not, we don't plan far enough ahead to make sure that our bodies are where they need to be. So we may set goals in every area, but holistically, what type of goals are you setting for yourself? What are you looking for your body to look like? You know, the comedy is in the winter, we all want to work on that summer body so that in the summer we can get out on the beach. But what are you doing year round? What does your year round body look like? So that
Mhm.
pre-planning, the season before, we should always be ready. So spring, we did certain things. I taught classes so that people could be prepared now. And a lot of what I taught in the spring, we did some herbs that would help so that you can have your body in place so that you won't have to experience the coronavirus. So there are many things that we can do proactively so that we don't have to get sick, but it's choices. Do I want to take time out and plan, even prepping meals? Do I want to drink the herbs, the herbal teas? Do I want to take the supplements in order to prepare my body to be well? Or do I want to be reactive because I have insurance and I can get medication to do whatever needs to be done? So it's a choice.
Mm. That's awesome. Look, we're both pastors. Both people of faith. And
Yes.
here's something that the Lord had impressed upon my heart some years ago. Sometimes it's not a miracle that you need; it's discipline. And a
Right.
lot of what you've been talking about really speaks to discipline. A lot of times when we find ourselves in some type of crisis, we're calling out for God's intervention, but we can actually be the once again the answer to our own problem by implementing some steps that will actually prevent those problems from meeting us down in the future. And so I appreciate you sharing that. You actually just introduced a new concept to me, and that was the ecosystem. As far as your body taking care of those multiple systems in your body. For the most part, the only thing we've ever heard about is the immune system. So vitamin C, but we're not looking at our bodies in a holistic steps and stages. And so, if you wouldn't mind, could you maybe explain, I guess maybe the various systems at play within our own bodies?
So the different systems that we have, and let me get my list so I won't miss anything here. So you have several different systems, body systems. There are 11 or 12, depending on who you consult. But you have your circulatory system, which is definitely going to be vital once it gets cooler, because those that have issues with their circulatory system usually stay cooler. So once it gets cooler, it's going to be worse. The digestive system, which many of us, we kind of overlook. We eat things that don't coincide with our digestive system, but we still eat them because they taste good. We'll talk about that later. All right. So the endocrine system, the exocrine system, let's see, your immune and lymphatic system, your muscular system, your nervous system, your renal and urinary system, reproductive, as well as respiratory, which again is vital to make sure you have that in place and thriving, because in cooler months is usually where we have a lot of your respiratory issues, and also your skeletal system. So everything works together. Even when you get a diagnosis in one part of the body or a disease in one part of the body, the rest of the body has to work hard in order to maintain. So when we deal with our entire ecosystem, our entire body, getting it where it should be, getting it aligned with God, we say we're believers, but are we willing to believe that we
Mm.
can proactively keep our bodies where they should be? So, am I well enough? Am I healthy enough to last a whole praise and worship service? You know, they
Mm,
asked us to lift our hands. If I don't have enough strength to hold my hands up for more than a few minutes, what does that say about the temple that I'm supposed to be the
wow.
priest over, that I'm supposed to be maintaining?
Mm. Listen, and that's the reality. You know, we are the tabernacle in which God dwells in, and
Right.
it's an indictment oftentimes on our belief when we don't take care of ourselves as we're supposed to. Listen, we're going to jump to a very quick commercial, and then we're going to come back with none other than Natasha L. Brown. Stand by, and we'll see you in a second.
There is a prevailing crisis that has crippled families and communities for decades. This crisis has direct association to higher crime rates, increased poverty, and cost the nation millions of dollars annually. The crisis is the epidemic of fatherlessness. What would the world look like if fathers were not only physically present, but emotionally available as well? What would the conversation between the repentant father and the dejected son sound like? Recognizing that sons, both young and old, need to hear the heart of a father serves as motivation for this literary work. This book is for those who need wisdom and guidance, never had those necessary moments with their father, or wish they had more moments with their father. Through the affirmation of a father's love, this book will traverse the difficult path from disappointment to hope, and from alienation to reconciliation.
All right, and that is my newest book, Dear Son. Listen, we have that on paperback. It's available on Kindle, and it's also now available on the audio book. Not want to miss this. We've created multiple platforms for you to get it, so there are no excuses. And, let me tell you that the testimonies that we have been getting back so far have been really amazing. So I want to thank you all who have been supporting uh, that particular work right there. And I want to encourage you all who have not had an opportunity to get a copy yet to go ahead and do that. You will not be disappointed. And so, listen, we're back with none other than Natasha L. Brown. Natasha, I got a quick question for you. So,
Okay.
something that I find a little weird, right now with a lot of people working from home and the work situation being a little different than what it was this time last year. A lot of us are getting more sleep than we have ever before in our adult lives. But it seems like more people are more tired than ever. Let me ask you, what do you think might be contributing to that, and what can we do to address it?
So I'll only touch on this just a little bit because there is some debate on what's causing it. But with the 5G going on, that energy is so strong. Yes, people are sleeping more, but they're sleeping more not because they're getting restful sleep and improving their bodies, but they're sleeping more because of more so exhaustion. And
Mm,
so they have to sleep. It's not that they're sleeping. When we sleep, we are supposed to be allowing our bodies basically to revive, to heal, to repair, to get us set up for the next day. And like you said, people are sleeping more, but they're not getting restful sleep. They're not getting healthy sleep. So a lot of that has to do with the transition into 5G. A lot of that has to do with more stress, especially with what's going on with a lot of people losing jobs and not making as much as they did before, or not even they lost the job. Some people working from home, and the home may not be as safe as we would hope that it would be for someone having to work from home. So many different scenarios. You know, a lot of people wish they worked from home, and now that they can work from home, they notice that it's not what they thought it was going to be.
mm.
So just the mindset, emotionally and mentally, there are a lot of things that are deterring the restful sleep, the healthy sleep for most people.
Awesome. Listen, I had not considered the 5G. It seemed like the moment you said it, there was like a little glitch. So, but no, that's really fascinating. And truthfully, I might have to kind of scroll this year mentally and maybe identify when I started to notice some change in my sleep. I've actually been a remote employee for a number of years now, but I can tell you that uh, I do seem a little bit more fatigued throughout the course of my day, and so I've been doing some things with diet and with nutrition to try to circumvent that. So I want to say thank you once again for highlighting that, and we'll talk offline concerning other uh,
And
potential theories.
let me share just a few things. So what, and not you personally, but just anybody I work with, what does your bedroom look like would be our first discussion.
Mhm.
You know, if you have things under your bed, if you have electronics of any kind, especially the TVs that are your higher definition TVs, that's going to create a problem. If you have your cellular or any type of mobile device in your bedroom, so just those things that we've grown accustomed to doing can deter and create for disruption. And it may not be any noise, there may not be any light, but that energy is still moving, and it's not giving your body, your subconscious, rest. So all of that plays a large part, but definitely, we can see what your particular trigger is. But that's just something in general. I took a class on that, and it was amazing to me some of the simple things that we may be doing to disrupt our sleep, because the bedroom should be a sacred space, and we
Mm.
don't necessarily do that. We do everything, anything all over our house, and even in our bedrooms, so we don't have a separate place to tell your body it's time for us to rest.
Hey, listen, what happens if that notification alarm goes off at 2 o'clock in the morning and you see the Facebook ticker and you got to check it, right?
No, if you have that phone outside of your bedroom, you won't even know Facebook exists. You will be sleeping well and being rested. So when you get up tomorrow, you'll be ready to face the Facebook world.
I'm gonna give it a try tonight. Hey, so let me ask you this: if a person were looking to jumpstart their wellness journey, where would you suggest that they start?
That they contact me through either Facebook, or they can even go to the website you have on the bottom, whathappenedtoyourlastmeal.com, or inbox me if we are Facebook friends. Natasha L. Brown, or New Peace Wellness with Natasha is my business page or my ministry page on Facebook. So any of those options. But one thing you can do, and I named several, and I try to name them on a regular basis, but again, people want a quick fix. If they could just take a pill, and I could give you supplements all day long, I can run off some herbs. But if you are not drinking enough water, all you're doing is agitating those herbs, because your body's not going to have enough hydration to move them through your system to give you any benefit. If you are not getting restful sleep, that is not helping, because your body is not giving itself time to revive, to heal, to get motivated for the next day. If you are not exercising, that plays a large part in every system of the body, especially our mental and emotional state right now. If we can get out and exercise, that definitely would transform some things for us. And making sure that we are eating live foods, or anything that would rot if we left it out. And now some of the foods, the genetically modified foods, you can leave them out for a long time and they won't rot. But what we know, our age group as live foods would have been things that if we left out too long, they would begin to rot. So be mindful of what you're eating. So definitely all of those play a large part in jumpstarting wellness.
I love it. Very, very practical. And listen, we are really without excuse. And so I want to say once again, thank you, Natasha, for sharing those tips, for sharing that wisdom, and even for quickly, sharing your story and what led to this journey. Like I said earlier, motivation. Sometimes fear motivates us. But hopefully, it's love that is driving us to make our decisions. Let me share this with you all before we close. This is from 3rd John, verse 2, and it says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Many of us are off balance. So it's my hope that we all regain that balance in our lives. And so, with that being said, this has been Truth of the Matter. I want to thank once again our guest, Natasha L. Brown. And I want to send you all out with this: God is for you. And if he's for you, who can be against you? Love you all, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Speaking truth and power, unlocking minds, one day at a time, day at a time. Speaking truth and power, unlocking minds, one day at a time, day at a time. Truth of the matter is that truth really matters, yeah. Truth of the matter is that truth really matters, yeah. In the beginning, I was back and forth like badminton, lacking wisdom, no direction for proper decisions. I heard my bro had a show, so I started to listen. Truth of the matter, ain't no comparing the competition. The kid feeling blessed, cause it's clear as Windex. After talking with Dex, I know just where to step. I know the path gon' be narrow, but my eyes on the sparrow. And the truth of the matter is that truth really matters. Truth of the matter.